gathered here today, as we do every year, to honor the memory of our ancestors. They paid the ultimate price for their faith, their love of our culture, and because they believed in freedom above all. We are forever indebted to them for the preservation of our culture, the way of life, and even for our very existence. We salute the President of the United States and our government for having the courage of their convictions to recognize the genocide of the Armenians. We urge them to make a similar commitment in recognizing the genocide of the Greeks and the Assyrians, as they were clearly part of the same plan. We ask this, not seeking a measure of revenge, but seeking peace for the entire world, for the sake of history, and in the hope that this world will never again suffer such tragedy. Thank you. Up next, I would like to call George Petridis, representing the Pontic Youth Association of USA and Canada.
As we gather here to honor the memory of our ancestors, I want to assure everyone that we, as the youth, will always carry on our culture and accept the task of passing it down. We will always fight for recognition of the genocide. We remember and we will never forget.
Thank you, George.
We want the genocide against the Pontics to be recognized immediately, and the time is now. Thank you.
Supreme President of AHEPA, Mr. George Choriatis.
Your Eminence, to the Honorable Consul General, Council of Greece, as well as to the State Senator, the Honorable from Rhode Island. Yesterday, the AHEPA issued a statement with regards to a call for President Biden to recognize the Greek genocide. And that was on the eve of today's remembrance that you have here of the victims from Pontic. AHEPA calls on President Joe Biden again to recognize the Greek genocide, which is the systematic extermination of between 1 million and 1.5 million Greek minority of the Ottoman Empire. You commemorate today the 102-year Pontic Greek genocide as part of the larger Greek and Christian genocide, where hundreds of thousands of Pontic Greeks were murdered. More than 1 million were forced to seek refuge in Greece. Their homes and property were confiscated, not to mention the destruction of Greek Orthodox churches and properties of the area. Ottoman Turkey endeavored to destroy Hellenism, its history, its rich culture, its language. They will never be able to do so because their identity and the heritage of Hellenism is ingrained in Pontus. We call for swift passage by President Biden. We commend the government's rightful recognition of the Armenian Genocide last month with the overwhelming passage of the genocide resolution by both chambers in terms of a Greek genocide, as well as a Christian genocide and an Armenian genocide in 2019. We are all together. It is agreed Armenians, Greeks, Assyrians, Syriacs, Maronites, and other Christians. It is time. And when we say it's time, in this Greek bicentennial year, in this year itself, in this month, on your most glorious day, in this hour, in this moment, President Biden recognized the Greek genocide. Thank you.
Our next speaker has led a 15-year-long fight to gain recognition, particularly in the House in the state of Rhode Island. He has continuously mustered up support with his colleagues and gotten us resolutions and proclamations every single year. Our good friend and patriot, Senator from Rhode Island, Mr. Leonidas Raptakis.
Thank you, Christos Anesti, everyone. His Eminence, Consul Generals, Presidents, current and former, pleasure to be here. And Gus, a promise that you and I had a discussion 15 years ago about introducing the first resolution in a legislature in our 50 states has come true, and we've never stopped for 15 years in a row. And last night, the state of Rhode Island, the state Senate, again, proudly passed a resolution recognizing the Pontic Genocide and telling President Erdogan, enough's enough, time to recognize what happened 102 years ago and fess up to the destruction of people throughout the Ottoman Empire that you wholeheartedly, your government is responsible for. And not only last night that the state of Rhode Island, the state Senate passed a resolution, today my colleagues in government, Connecticut Representative Nicole Claridis Ditria is introducing at this moment as we're speaking the state of Connecticut. And we as Greek Americans elected throughout this great nation in 18 states, 6 members of Congress, 2 lieutenant governors and a secretary of state, we are going to fight and continue fighting until all the states recognize the Greek Pontic Genocide. Our Congress recognizes the Greek Pontic Genocide, and our President recognizes the Greek Pontic Genocide. Κυρίες και κύριοι, ήταν μεγάλη τιμή μου την Κυριακή να ήμουν μαζί με όλοι σας που είχατε.
Your Eminence, dear friends, we gather today here to remember a very dark page in history. To remember those who were never blessed to see the break of dawn. Της Ανατολής στο Χάραμαν, as the song has it. Words cannot easily express the atrocities of the previous century. Nor can they teach our children enough lessons about the pain our nation has suffered. Death and annihilation, ladies and gentlemen. Death and annihilation was what our ancestor witnessed. Να ηλεί εμέν, να δάει εμέν, τα μάτια μου ντροερέπνε. Αλίμονό μου, κρίμα μου, τα μάτια μου τι βλέπουν. But now, as already said, justice has started to be served. After decades of agonizing for the international recognition, a US president, President Biden, has called the massacre and deportation of the Armenians in 1915 a genocide. This is huge. The Turks committed the same crimes against the Pontic Greeks all the way through 1923. From this very place, here, in the Bowling Green, from this historic place, the Hellenic American community, AHEPA has already started, calls on President Biden to recognize the Greek genocide as well. It is our duty to make this historical fact known to the world, to all the people that are hearing us right now. We owe it to our ancestors. I personally, Your Eminence, had the pleasure and immense honor to participate in the unveiling of the first monument in the United States, first monument in the United States of America, dedicated to 300,000, 53,000 Greeks of Pontus who lost their lives so unjustly. Congratulations, Mr. President. Congratulations. Today we remember not because we wish to avenge our dead, but because we wish to strengthen historical memory. And by doing so, we prevent such crimes against humanity recurring in future. We must educate our children and help them understand that hate-mongering caters for man's lowest instincts. Irredentism, bigotry, and ethnic cleansing is a bomb ready to explode. And once it does, ladies and gentlemen, it leaves nothing but national tragedies. Today we live in a different century, a different world, one might say. Today Hellenism finds comfort in the thought that Pontus is alive. Pontus is alive, is here among us. I can see it in the faces of your children whose innocence has touched us all. And I can still remember the pride of those brave young men who raised the flag of Pontus on Mount Olympus back in 2019. So many stories, so many charismatic men and women. Γιατί, κύριε Πρόεδρε, Πόντος εν άστρων φωτεινών όψε σήμερον και πάντα. My friends, you have traveled a long way over this past century. The people of Pontus carry a heavy load on their shoulders since the day they are born. Since the day you are born. There is a fight, they must fight. There is a fight, we must fight. But the day of vindication will dawn only when the victims find peace. When will humanity learn? How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? The American poet wonders. The answer is, every time life conquers death. May God rest their souls, your eminence.